Well, hey there, YouTube. Matt M. Roy back again. Back with another cooking video for you guys. I found this recipe on Pinterest about a week ago, and it piqued my interest. So I thought we'd go ahead and give it a try. I am a big fan of chicken, and I usually go out on Fridays and get the chicken strips at Chick-fil-A, which are one of my favorites, and I always dip in their delicious honey mustard. This is actually going to be something similar in taste to that, but prepared quite a bit differently. What we're going to do today is called honey mustard chicken. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to read the recipe real quick, but I'm also going to post this at the bottom of the video as well. It has some very basic ingredients, which I will go over with you in just a moment. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, to prepare this, I have skinned the chicken to the best of my ability. Now, if you really want to nitpick it, you can actually take a knife and just trim all the fat off the edges, but I don't want to do that because a little bit of fat actually keeps the chicken moist, especially when cooking in the oven. If you leave a little bit of fat on there, you don't have to cover it up to keep the moisture in. Other ingredients we're going to need for this recipe are pepper, salt, Dijon mustard, clover honey, which is what I like, but you could use any type that you want, rosemary, extra virgin olive oil, and just some canola oil. And that's not part of the actual recipe. I'll explain why I'm going to use that in just a moment. Alright, next step is we got to get a medium-sized bowl, and we're going to mix all of the ingredients with the exception of the rosemary. Alright. Now that I have the oven preheating to 350 as per the instructions, I have a medium bowl, and I'm going to whisk together the mustard, honey, olive oil, and a pinch of salt and pepper, basically, just for taste. I will be using less salt because we're not used to heavily salted food in this house. Okay, I have my Pampered Chef measuring cup here. And this is where the canola cooking spray is going to come in. I have it set on the bottom to 1/4 cup. So what I want to do, because honey especially is going to stick to this, I want to go ahead and spray a generous amount of cooking spray all in here. And when I say generous, I mean generous, because you do not want this to stick. Now, first thing I'm going to do is get the Dijon mustard. Go ahead and pour that in here. We can go over a little bit, that's fine. So as you can see, I have 1/4 cup of that in there. Now I'm just going to turn it over. And in this case, it all falls in the bowl, which is good. Alright, now I'm going to do the same thing with the honey. I don't need to put any more cooking spray because there's already a bunch in there. It's actually quite a bit of honey, so I definitely don't want to add extra salt because there's going to be extra sugar. You don't want extra salt. Alright, got a 1/4 cup of honey. Go ahead and push that down, and as you can see, with the cooking spray, pretty much all falls in. Now, because there's always going to be a tiny bit left on there, I'm just going to add maybe just a little squirt of honey. And that's it. So that's our first two ingredients. Next we need 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Okay. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is go ahead and put the amount of salt and pepper that I want in here. Now bear in mind that for your taste it may be a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and put a generous amount of pepper. Just looking at what I'm putting here, I'd said putting in maybe 1/4 tablespoon. Okay. And then again, because we're not big salt eaters in this house, I might just do 1/2 teaspoon in there, or 1/4 teaspoon in there, let's say. Alright, so that is what it looks like so far. Next, we're going to go ahead and prepare the chicken. Alright, let's just go ahead and give this a little stir here. I said it doesn't have to be mixed together very thoroughly, but As you can see, it is definitely looking like honey mustard. As a matter of fact, that looks almost identical to the honey mustard that we get at Chick-fil-A. All right, next we need to prepare the chicken, and all it says to do for the chicken is to lightly salt it. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit in, because remember we did add salt to the sauce already. Just ever so lightly. That's it, guys. Couple shakes. Less than 1/4 teaspoon is needed for that. All right, now it's time to go ahead and spread this on our chicken. And it literally says just to spoon it, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And you can see with this consistency, it really spreads nice and even. Little tip here, go ahead and put a conservative amount to start with, and then once you see what you have left over, then you can add more towards the end. As I can see, I'm going to have a lot left over, so I can really coat these. And then I'm just going to pour a little bit in here all over it. I think the reason they tell you to spoon it is just that, so you know you have enough to cover all the chicken evenly. All right, looking good so far. I am going to make one alteration to this recipe, however. It clearly states in this recipe that you're supposed to put the sprigs of rosemary in between the chicken. I guess they just want to have that in there for flavor. But unfortunately in my area, all I can get are these crushed rosemary spices. So instead of putting in between, I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some on top. And I don't mind a lot of rosemary. We have the roasted red potatoes a lot in this family with quite a bit of rosemary. So if I get a bite of rosemary in each bite of chicken, I'm happy. Alright, so that is it for preparation, guys. Now we got to go ahead and stick this in the oven. It bakes for 45 minutes, or until the thighs have reached 175 degrees internal temperature. Cooking chicken thoroughly is very important, and I am not going to be held responsible for people that undercook their chicken. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go ahead and put the chicken in the oven. I heard the oven beep, so it's definitely at 350. And we're going to go ahead and set the timer on here for 45 minutes. Oh, I'm getting hungry already, guys. Check back with you in 45 minutes. I can tell it's looking good. It's getting that brown consistency on top. Not getting burnt, though. Oh, the smell from this is absolutely amazing. Well, we're going to go ahead and give it the rest of the time, and then I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and we'll check the temperature, see if it's done. All right, now that we have the chicken out, it's time to take its temperature. The idea behind this is you want to find the thickest piece, which I think is this one, because that's the one that's going to take the longest to cook. And let's see what it says. Remember, it should be about 175. We're at 160. I think we got a little bit longer to go, guys. So you might have to adjust your recipe for the time your specific oven. I'm gonna put it back in. I bet it's gonna take another maybe 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so it's been about another 10 minutes, and time to check the chicken's temperature. I'm gonna try to use the same hole I did before. It's very hard when you have thin meat like this, and there's a bone in there. There we go. Let's see what it reads. It's getting there. I double checked online, and it's actually 165 chicken is safe to eat, but I can kind of tell that it's not there already, because if you look closely, you can see that there's actually a little bit of blood coming out there. So going to go ahead and put this back in again. I must say the timing for this recipe is either off or my oven temp is off, and I doubt it's the oven temp because I had this calibrated fairly recently. So back in the oven she goes. Alright, so here is the finished product. It's reached an internal temperature of 175, and I must say it looks very good. And it's just about the right time too, because Mom's going to be walking in that door any minute and wanting to have a delicious meal for dinner. So we have the chicken, and I'm going to prepare it with a tossed salad. We actually had some of that left over from last night with everybody's favorite dressings, because we all like a different one. Got cucumber and tomatoes there. Have some KFC coleslaw that Mom likes to have with her meals. It's very good. And for a drink, I'm going to pair it with about a half a bottle of Cabolos, and this is a Cabernet Sauvignon from 2012. Dad likes to drink that. And last but not least for me, some good old Arizona Arnold Palmer, half and half. Hope you guys enjoyed this cooking video. Please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.